Stop thinking that her silence is a romantic mystery. It's not. Every time she is silent, she is saying something, even if she doesn't use words. A woman's silence is never a coincidence. It's a message, sometimes a warning, and other times a test that measures your character. If you interpret it wrong, you will lose control and dignity. Many men react as if silence were an attack. They despair, insist, fill the void with calls, messages, and questions that expose them. And there's the mistake. They don't realize that in those moments, what is being evaluated is not what you say, but how you act when you don't get what you expect. Silence reveals who controls himself and who crumbles in the face of uncertainty. Most don't understand that responding with anxiety is handing over power. Every time you chase an answer, you lose respect. Every time you beg for attention, you lose authority over yourself. Silence, when properly understood, is not your enemy. It's the test that separates men who govern themselves from those who bow to their emotions. This video is for those who are tired of reacting impulsively. We are going to teach you to look at silence as a stoic tool to reinforce your calm, your discipline, and your self-respect. If you learn to see it this way, you will stop falling into emotional games and start acting strategically. Silence will tell you more than you imagine. Don't ignore it, but don't chase it either. Learn to maintain composure when others are silent. That's where your true strength is revealed. 20. Read silence as a signal, not as a mystery. The most common mistake many men make is to believe that a woman's silence is an impossible enigma to decipher, as if it were a hidden code that requires endless guessing. It's not. Silence is a wordless statement. It's as clear as a red light on a traffic light. It's telling you something, but you're not going to hear it if you're too busy reacting. And that's precisely the first lesson. Stop looking for a romantic or mysterious meaning. Start seeing it for what it is, a signal. Imagine you're walking in the middle of a forest, and suddenly all the noise from the birds and the wind disappears. The absolute silence is not a coincidence. It's a warning that something has changed, and you need to be alert. The same happens in a relationship. When a woman falls silent, something has changed in her perception, her emotions, or her interest. She may be disappointed, upset, confused, or simply testing your boundaries. The problem is that many men react with anxiety, trying to fill that void with messages, calls, and explanations that only make them seem insecure. A man who interprets silence as a mystery becomes a slave to his thoughts. He tortures himself imagining scenarios that do not exist and ends up projecting fears instead of understanding reality. On the other hand, a man who sees it as a signal stops, observes, and asks himself, what is this silence communicating? That difference between reacting and analyzing is what marks a man with self-control. From Stoicism, every external message, be it word, gesture, or silence, should be received with observation and not with agitation. Marcus Aurelius wrote that it is not the facts that disturb us, but the judgment we make of them. Silence has no power until you give it power by interpreting it with fear or anxiety. Therefore, the first step is not to let silence drag you to hasty conclusions. Calm is your best defense. When you notice a woman's silence, instead of reacting impulsively, think, this is not a punishment or a mystery, it's information. It's showing you something about her emotional state, her interest, her boundaries, or even about your own behavior. Maybe you've crossed a line without realizing it. Maybe she's waiting to see if you'll maintain your dignity, or maybe she's just dealing with her own internal conflicts. Whatever the reason, you gain nothing by losing your cool. A man who respects himself uses silence to observe patterns. Is it an occasional silence that arises from a bad day, or is it a recurring silence that shows disinterest? Is it a necessary space for her to process emotions, or is it a form of passive manipulation? Each answer requires a different attitude, but all demand the same foundation: self-control. This advice is not about ignoring silence or becoming an indifferent statue. It's about learning to read what's behind it without becoming a slave to your emotions. A woman can be silent for many reasons, but a strong man understands that his worth does not depend on that reaction. He maintains his posture, does not chase, and observes. That composure is what separates someone who reacts like an insecure teenager from someone who acts like a man aware of his own power. When you assimilate that silence is not a mystery, you will stop seeing it as a void that needs to be filled at all costs. You will start to see it as a compass, indicating where the relationship is going and how much you value yourself. If you learn to read it, you will never lose your cool in front of it again. 2. Stop the chase and keep calm. Nothing destroys respect in a relationship more than the impulse to chase when someone quietly pulls away. It's a reflex born out of fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear of being left out of their world. Many men, as soon as they feel distance, react as if they're losing air. They start looking for them with messages, calls, explanations, and desperate questions. What they don't understand is that this chase doesn't bring them closer, it pushes them even further away. The chase is the silent confession that you've lost control over yourself. It shows that their attention governs you, that your peace depends on their response. In that moment, you stop being a man who leads his own life and become someone who follows the crumbs of approval. Imagine a bonfire. If you try to stoke the flames by desperately blowing air, you end up extinguishing it. That's how attraction works when you respond to silence with anxiety. Instead of sparking interest, you extinguish it. Calmness, on the other hand, acts like the right amount of air that keeps the fire alive, without exaggerations or outbursts. Stoicism teaches that self-control is not only about containing emotions, but also mastering the impulses that arise from uncertainty. A man who chases is saying with every gesture, "My worth depends on your response." A man who stops, breathes, and maintains his composure sends another message: "My peace is not for sale." Stopping the chase doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means choosing not to beg for attention, not to lose dignity in an attempt to explain what doesn't need explanation. It's showing that your energy, your time, and your mind are too valuable to give away to the game of chase. When you feel the urge to insist, remember this: every word you write with anxiety, every call you make to force a response, is a coin you pay with your self-respect. And what you give away in panic rarely comes back. Calmness, on the other hand, multiplies your value because it communicates something that can't be faked: confidence. A woman's silence can be a test. Often, what she's observing is not what you say, but how you behave when you don't get what you want. If you give in to the chase, you confirm her power over you. If you stay calm, you demonstrate that your life doesn't revolve around someone else's reaction. This principle also protects your mind. Chasing drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and locks you in a cycle of frustration. Calmness allows you to analyze clearly. Is the silence a space she needs to think, or is it a sign of disinterest that demands definite distance? You can't answer that question if you're caught in the noise of your own impulses. Practicing calmness is a conscious decision. Breathe before you respond. The firmer your composure, the easier it will be to see the situation clearly and make decisions based on facts, not on overflowing emotions. Deep down, stopping the chase is an act of respect towards yourself. It's the declaration that your attention is a privilege, not a resource you beg to share. A woman may be intrigued by a man who keeps calm, but she will hardly be attracted to someone who panics at the first sign of silence. Calmness not only regains your power, it also redefines your position in the relationship. It shows that you're not there to compete for affection or to beg for crumbs of attention. You're there by choice, not by necessity. And that attitude, more than any word, is what ends up making the difference. 3. Make self-control your greatest advantage. A man who does not master his emotions is like a ship without a rudder, at the mercy of each wave, unable to choose his course. In relationships, these waves come in the form of unexpected silences, messages that are not answered, mood swings that are not explained. Those who lack self-control sink in seconds. Those who cultivate it move forward without deviating, even in rough seas. Self-control is not about repressing what you feel, but learning to govern your emotions before they govern you. Most men miss this key point. They believe that control consists of pretending to be cold, disguising fear with indifference. But real control is not acting as if nothing matters to you. It's that something matters to you, and yet you choose not to react impulsively. When a woman is silent, it is normal to feel a knot in your stomach, a mix of anxiety and doubts that push you to seek immediate answers. That knot is inevitable. What is under your control is what you decide to do with it. You can let it push you to say words that you will later regret, or you can use it as a signal to stop, breathe, and observe. This ability to pause before reacting is what separates men who respect themselves from those who give their power to the emotion of the moment. From the Stoic perspective, you cannot control what others do or fail to do. The only thing you own is your response. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if something external hurts you, it is not the fact itself that hurts you, but the judgment you make about it. Someone's silence does not have the power to disarm you unless you decide to see it as a threat. Imagine that you are in a dark room and you hear a noise. If you panic, everything becomes more terrifying than it really is. But if you turn on the light, you discover that it was only the wind moving a door. This is how the mind works. When you react without thinking, everything feels bigger and more dangerous. When you turn on the light of reason, the situation loses its power over you. A man with self-control does not need to raise his voice, throw reproaches, or demand explanations. His calm speaks for him. He projects confidence even in the midst of uncertainty. And that confidence not only protects his dignity, it also generates respect. Few things are more attractive than someone who does not get dragged into the emotional chaos of others. Self-control also helps you keep your energy intact. Losing it in emotional outbursts is like spending all the water in a well in a single day. Then there is nothing left for what really matters. Keeping silent when necessary, postponing an impulsive response, or deciding to withdraw from a discussion that is not worth it are acts of strength, not weakness. One of the most effective practices to develop this advantage is daily reflection. Ask yourself every night, how many times today did I let myself be carried away by emotions that I could control? How many times did I keep calm when others tried to provoke me? This habit will allow you to recognize patterns and correct them little by little, strengthening your mettle for when you face silences that seek to destabilize you. Make self-control your shield and your sword. Your shield, because it will protect you from falling into the emotional games of others. Your sword, because it will allow you to act with precision when you decide to speak or intervene. In the field of relationships, the real advantage is not in who shouts the loudest or who demands answers, but in who can keep calm when everything invites you to lose it. If you manage to master yourself, you will discover that silence ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally. 4. Protect your attention. Do not give it away. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, but most men treat it as if it were free, as if anyone could claim it without effort. When you face a woman's silence, it's easy to fall into the trap of giving her all your mental energy, wondering every hour what she thinks, why she is silent, or what you should do to get a response. That's the most costly mistake. Turning your attention into a tribute offered to someone who doesn't even ask for it. Silence only becomes torture when you decide to focus on it more than necessary. It's like an echo. The more you listen to it, the louder it seems to sound. The key is to understand that your attention determines your peace of mind. If you focus it on the void left by silence, the void will grow. A man who does not know how to protect his attention ends up exhausted because every unanswered message becomes a distraction that steals productivity, calm, and clarity. That's where you lose much more than a conversation. You lose time, you lose focus, you lose emotional energy that you could invest in yourself. The Stoics taught that you should not put your happiness in the hands of what you do not control. Attention works in the same way. As long as you give it to external factors, someone's mood, their silence, their reactions, you will be a prisoner of them. Instead, when you decide to safeguard it and direct it to what depends on you, your discipline, your work, your peace, you regain the control you should never have given up. Think of your attention as a bank account with limited funds. Every minute you spend checking your phone, imagining scenarios, or drafting messages you will never send, is money withdrawn from that account. Are you going to waste it on someone else's silence, or are you going to invest it in your progress? People usually respect those who are not easily distracted because it conveys that their priorities are clear. When a woman perceives that her silence does not alter your routine or make you lose focus, she begins to see it differently. What once seemed like power becomes an ineffective gesture in the face of your calm. But if she notices that her silence consumes your day, that you stop your life for a response, she loses respect and sees you as someone who does not know how to govern himself. Protecting your attention does not mean ignoring the relationship or acting as if you do not care. It means that your time and energy are limited and that you consciously decide to whom and what you give them. It's choosing to work on your goals, your health, your projects, instead of being paralyzed by a pause that may have nothing to do with you. Silence loses its power when your attention stops feeding it. If the other person is silent, let them be. You keep moving forward on your path. Keep your habits, your routine, and your focus intact. That consistency speaks louder than any word, because it shows that you are not a satellite revolving around someone else's validation. A good practice is to limit the time you allow yourself to think about what you do not control. Dedicate only a few minutes to objectively reflect on the situation and then withdraw your mind from there. Every time you catch yourself going around in circles, redirect it to something productive: reading, exercise, work, learning. Over time, this habit strengthens your self-discipline and reduces the anxiety caused by silence. Protecting your attention is a silent declaration that you value yourself. It's showing that you're not going to empty your mind into uncertainty or give away your inner peace to someone who may just be waiting for a reaction. 5. Accept what silence reveals. Silence has the power to show truths that words try to hide. Many men cannot bear this revelation because they prefer a comforting lie to facing what silence evidences. But here's the reality. Silence, although uncomfortable, rarely deceives. It shows you the place you occupy in someone's priorities, the quality of their interest, and the sincerity of their affection. If you don't learn to accept it, you'll end up living in an illusion. Imagine that you've been taking care of a plant for days and you notice it stops blooming. You can pretend it's still healthy because it doesn't wither immediately, but the silence of its leaves already warned you that something is wrong. The same happens in relationships. When someone is silent, that void is not neutral. It's a reflection of what they feel, what they think, or what they stopped feeling. Denying it only prolongs the wear and tear. Accepting what silence reveals is an act of emotional maturity. It means you stop interpreting each pause as a puzzle and start seeing it as evidence. If silence becomes frequent, it may be showing emotional distance. If it appears after a conflict, it may signal unexpressed resentment. If it arises without apparent reason, it may indicate disinterest. You won't always know why, but the fact itself is valuable information. The dynamic has changed. The mistake many men make is to fight against this truth, trying to force a response that confirms their expectations. This search sinks them into discussions that don't gain clarity, only resistance. Accepting silence doesn't mean resigning or settling. It means to stop fighting with reality. The Stoics taught that the greatest cause of suffering is wishing things were different than they are. The faster you accept what silence shows you, the less energy you will waste trying to change what doesn't depend on you. This acceptance also reveals your character. A man who faces the obvious with calm shows integrity. He doesn't need to deceive himself or create excuses to sustain the unsustainable. He maintains dignity because he recognizes that he deserves clarity, even if that clarity comes through the void of words. On the contrary, whoever clings to deny the truth that silence hints at becomes a prisoner of their own hope. Think of silence as a mirror that forces you to see what you don't want to look at. Sometimes it shows that you gave more than you received, that the interest is not mutual, or that the connection has weakened. Acknowledging it can hurt, but ignoring it prolongs the damage. The pain of acceptance is temporary. The pain of pretending is endless. Accepting what silence reveals is not a sign of coldness. It's a step towards self-respect. If you discover that silence indicates disinterest, don't beg or chase. Withdraw with your head held high. If it shows that the other person just needs space, don't take the distance as an offense. Give them that space without losing your center. In any case, your response should come from understanding, not denial. This approach also gives you strategic power. By seeing silence as evidence, you can decide more clearly. Is it worth continuing to invest energy here, or is it time to direct it elsewhere? Decisions made with open eyes are always wiser than those driven by denial. Men who accept the truth behind silence gain something invaluable: mental peace. They no longer debate between what they imagine and what they hope. They simply act based on what they see. And that, in a relationship, makes you much stronger than any emotional reaction. 6. Leave anxiety behind and act with strategy. Running after answers has never solved anyone's silence. It only amplifies it. Anxiety makes you believe that every second without a response is a personal attack, when in reality it's your own mind playing against you. As long as you continue acting from that impulse, you will lose clarity and dignity. True strength emerges when you learn to stop that internal noise and replace it with strategy. Silence, in its essence, is neutral ground. It neither hurts nor humiliates you by itself. It is you who transforms it into an enemy by interpreting each pause as a threat. Anxiety makes you exaggerate every gesture. You read between the lines messages that do not exist. You check your phone non-stop. You imagine scenarios that only exist in your head. This emotional wear not only weakens your presence before the other person, it also erodes your own mental balance. To break that cycle, the first decision is simple. Stop reacting instantly. Breathe. Pause before writing, before calling, before trying to explain what does not require explanation. Each conscious pause is a reminder that your life does not stop for someone else's silence. That calm, although it may seem passive, is already a form of strategy. The strategy is to prioritize your well-being and your focus above any external expectation. If silence appears, do not feed it with impulsive reactions. Nourish yourself with actions that strengthen your value. Go out to train, focus on your work, advance in personal projects. The energy you invest in worrying about someone who does not respond is energy you steal from your own progress. From the Stoic perspective, the biggest mistake is to allow the uncontrollable, another's silence, to dictate the course of your day. Seneca said that there is no favorable wind for the one who does not know where he is going. Without strategy, you let yourself be dragged by foreign emotions. With strategy, you use every situation, even silence, to strengthen your character. One of the keys to acting strategically is to observe patterns without immediately judging them. Ask yourself, does the silence repeat itself every time a conflict arises, or only when there are uncomfortable topics? Is it a pause that seeks personal space, or is it indifference in disguise? Do not try to guess from anxiety. Analyze from calm and let time reveal the answers. Do not confuse strategy with manipulation. It's not about games to provoke reactions, but about setting clear boundaries and protecting your peace. Sometimes the best response to silence is silence itself, not as punishment, but as a declaration that you will not enter dynamics that wear out your energy. When you replace anxiety with strategy, you transform your position in the relationship. You stop being someone who reacts and become someone who decides. This is noticeable. It is reflected in your body language, in your tone of voice, and in your ability to maintain composure regardless of the behavior of the other person. Not all silence deserves a response, but all silence deserves reflection. Before acting, ask yourself what message you are sending with your reaction. Do you show dependence or do you transmit strength? The strategy is to always choose what keeps you whole, even if it means being silent or stepping aside with elegance. Abandoning anxiety and acting with strategy is taking control of your own narrative. It's demonstrating that the course of your life is not marked by the attention or disinterest of another person. In that transition, you not only regain power, you also gain respect, your own and that of the one who observes that your calm is not weakness, but discipline. 7. Turn silence into your truth filter. Silence has a function that few know how to take advantage of. It separates empty words from real intentions. When conversations flow, anyone can promise, justify, flatter, or even lie. But when everything stops and there are no messages, no calls or explanations, what remains is the naked truth. That's where silence becomes a filter that reveals who is willing to stay and who is just passing by. Many men fear silence because they see it as a void that threatens the relationship. In reality, it is a valuable tool to measure authenticity. A truly interested person does not need you to chase them to show it. Their interest becomes evident even in the midst of silence. On the contrary, whoever was there out of habit or convenience disappears when there is no constant stimulus. The problem is that most people look for answers in words, without understanding that words easily deceive, but silence does not. A compliment can be false, an apology can be calculated, a promise can be broken. But the absence of communication rarely lies. If someone stops responding consistently, they are showing something they dare not say out loud. Stoicism teaches not to resist the nature of things and to use each situation as a lesson. Applied to silence, this means observing it without anxiety, allowing it to act as a sieve that purifies what is not genuine. Instead of seeing silence as punishment, see it as a test that separates the real from the illusory. To turn it into your truth filter, you must abandon the impulse to force immediate clarifications. The truth needs space to reveal itself. If you stop insisting, silence will do its job. It will show who seeks sincere communication and who only responds when pressured. It is also a mirror for you. It reveals your ability to tolerate uncertainty, your level of self-control, and your willingness to accept what is not said. If you can't stand the silence without falling apart, you're not ready for a balanced relationship. You're seeking emotional refuge, not authentic connection. Silence exposes priorities. If someone is interested, they will find a way to approach sooner or later. If they don't, you don't need more explanations. This is not coldness. It is accepting that voluntary attention is the only interest worth having. By using silence as a filter, you learn to save emotional energy. You will no longer spend efforts trying to convince someone to stay or begging for explanations. You will let time and the emptiness of words reveal what you need to know. And the best part is that while you wait, you don't stop living, working, and moving forward. Silence, well understood, is not an obstacle, it is a guide. It frees you from the illusions created by pretty speeches and shows you what really matters, the action behind the words. When you accept it as an ally, you discover that there is no clearer filter to see the truth. 8. Receive her without losing firmness. Accepting someone's return after a prolonged silence is a test of character. Many men, as soon as they receive a message or a gesture of attention after days of absence, react with euphoria, as if they had been waiting for a rescue. This excessive enthusiasm not only reveals dependence, but also immediately erases the respect they had managed to regain with their calm. It is not enough to remain firm during the silence. True strength is demonstrated at the moment when that person decides to reappear. Receiving her does not mean opening your arms as if nothing had happened. It means listening without losing your center, showing openness without giving up your dignity. It is to maintain the same balance that you held in her absence, neither resentment seeking to punish, nor submission begging for approval. What you project in that instant speaks more of you than of her. Firmness is not confused with coldness. It's about establishing with your attitude that your value did not decrease during the silence. If she returns with explanations or affection, accept it with serenity, without drama or sarcasm that feed unnecessary conflict. If she returns with doubts or half-intentions, let your boundaries be clear. You are willing to talk, but not to participate in cycles of emotional games. The Stoics believed that the correct response should not arise from impulse, but from reason. Applied to relationships, this means that you do not react with explosions of emotion, but with coherence. Maintaining firmness when receiving her is showing that your calm did not depend on her presence, that you did not live suspended waiting for her validation. That security is what most impacts and awakens respect. Think about this. A tree that has withstood a storm does not need to lean when the sun returns. Its strength remains intact, and precisely for that reason, it remains standing. This should be your stance, not rigid or inflexible, but firm and rooted in your own value. When someone returns after silence, they are also measuring your reaction. If she perceives that the door remains open without conditions, she may repeat the same pattern of silence whenever she wishes. But if she notices that you receive her with cordiality and at the same time with clear boundaries, she will understand that respect is a fundamental part of the dynamic. Receiving her without losing firmness is not a game of pride, it is an act of self-care. It is the silent reminder that you are not going to allow another person's emotional ups and downs to destabilize your life. It is also an opportunity to establish a new starting point, more honest and balanced, where both know that respect is not negotiable. In relationships, the way you receive someone after silence defines whether that bond grows or wears away. If you respond with calm, openness, and firmness, you make it clear that your dignity remains intact. And that is the kind of presence that not only earns respect, but transforms the way the other values you. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment, "I am Stoic," as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.